When we implementing a selection sort, right, then there's going to be three variables at play. Actually there's going to be two when we code, but for the purpose of dry running it's going to be three. So you're going to have I. Let me put it in a red. Okay, so I is going to be this element here. Okay, I is going to be 0. Okay, it's going to point to this first element, and I is going to loop come till the last element is or the second last element, sorry, it's not going to come till here. Okay, that's illegal in selection sort. Then we have j. J is always going to be one more than I. Okay, and then j is going to start here at the second element and is going to end here at the last element. Just remember that for selection sort. So yeah, that's what it is. Now let's implement it. J. Now this is selection sort. When I is 0, then this is going to be considered your minimum value. Okay, and this is j. J is going to first loop here. Okay, it's going to see if the current minimum value, which is 100, okay, if there's a value which is smaller than 100. Okay, so now j is going to check that. So j comes to 4, it's going to compare with 100, it's going to see that actually 4 is smaller than 100. So now minimum is going to be here, it's no longer going to be here. Then j is going to be incremented and j is going to point here. Now it's going to compare 4 the minimum value and 45, and it sees okay, 4 is actually less, then we can increment. Now it's going to compare here, it sees that 5 is that actually greater than that, so it's still going to increment. Then it comes to 2 and sees 2 isn't greater than 4, so 2 should be the next minimum value. Now this is no longer the minimum, 2 is the minimum. Now when j reaches the end of the array, what's going to happen is that you're going to swap i's value with j, if you know what I mean. Alright, or yeah, so 2 is going to come over here, 100 is going to come over here. You're basically swapping these two. Alright, so compared to the other sorting algorithms, selection sort is quite fairly simple to understand. Alright, so yeah, we swap this, and now what we notice is that 2 is in its proper position and 100 is in its proper position, so those are sorted out. Next, what we're going to do is, let me just erase this, we're going to increment I. Okay, so now I is going to be here. Okay, I is no longer going to be there, and since I is here, the minimum value is going to start there, and j is here. So our minimum value now is 4, and now 4 is going to be compared with j, and it's going to see that 45 is actually greater, so increment. So now it increments j, and it's going to compare 4 and 5, and it's going to see that it's actually big, so increment, and that's already sorted, so yeah, don't worry about that. Now it's going to see that 4 is also in its proper position, 4 is sorted. Next, I is going to be here, and then j is going to be here, and this is going to be our minimum value. So 45 is our minimum value. It's going to just check with j, it's going to see that 5 is actually smaller than 45. Now this is going to be our minimum value. Alright, and then j is going to be incremented, and it's going to see that this is 100, which is actually greater, so the minimum value doesn't change. And because j reached the end of the array, right, it's going to swap I with the minimum value, which is this one right over here. So 45 is going to come over here. Okay, now this is 45, and 5 is going to go there. So that's just the way it works. Now 5 is also sorted. Okay, and we can see that the entire array 45, it's gonna actually let me, before I jump the gun, alright, I don't want to jump the gun. I mean, we already know that the entire array is sorted, but the way insertion sort is gonna work is it's gonna check still regardless if it's sorted. So I is there, now j is here, and it's gonna compare the two. Okay, this is 45, minimum value 100, so it's gonna see that 100 is actually greater, so it's in the proper position. So we see that the entire array, this is sorted, and this is also in its proper position, so the entire array is sorted 2 4 5 and stuff. So yeah, thanks for watching.